It is the 22nd of August 2020. This is Saturday Night News. Many thanks for staying with us. We have a lot lined up for you tonight, including a special report by our very own Elizabeth Mutuku on 2022 politics and its Scottish Secretary General Francis Atwoli, the Kingmaker. But first, here are the highlights. Probing COVID-19 funds, pressure mounting for a speedy investigation into KEMSA's scandal. WHO has also condemned the misappropriation of funds meant for COVID-19. Revenue divide. The revenue sharing formula continues to elicit mixed reactions, with Majority Whip Irungu Kangata calling for the support of CRA's That Generation formula.
It is very important as a Senate we take due considerations, opinions expressed by Commission for Revenue Allocation.
Also tonight, Atwoli the Kingmaker. Is Atwoli the 2022 Kingmaker? Tonight, we look at Atwoli's 2022 factor.
It takes an individual at the level of somebody like Atwoli to bring them together and be the midwife. And that's the role he's trying to play. And there can be no better person to play that role other than him.
A very warm welcome. My name is Mumbi Chege. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Faith Cheptile. Now, the World Health Organization says that COVID-19 might be here for 2 more years. According to WHO, lack of vaccine for the virus is putting the world at a high risk. Zainab Mohammed has the details.
The World Health Organization says that coronavirus might not end as soon as many hoped. According to the Director General, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, lack of a vaccine for the virus means it will take the population a long time to build immunity against the virus. WHO predicting that the pandemic might stay for at least 2 more years.
To finish this pandemic before less than 2 years, especially if we can pull our efforts together and with national unity, global solidarity, really key with utilizing the available tools to the maximum. And
Ghebreyesus further says COVID-19 containment measures are not a long-term solution to the pandemic, therefore the need for a lasting solution.
Lockdowns are not a long-term solution for any country. We do not need to choose between lives and livelihoods, or between health and the economy. That's a false choice. On the contrary, the pandemic is a reminder that health and the economy are inseparable.
This is as the number of COVID-19 cases rises to 32,118 cases after 355 more people tested positive for the virus in the last 24 hours. In the spread across counties, Nairobi County is leading with 118 cases, Mombasa 25 cases, Nakuru 25 cases, Kiambu 23, Kajiado and Migori 20 cases each. 296 more people have recovered as 10 more people succumbed to the virus. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization now says that corruption around medical safety gear is tantamount to murder. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General, added that if health workers work without personal protective equipment, they are risking their lives, and that also risks the lives of the people they serve.
The level of corruption is unacceptable, or any type of corruption is unacceptable. However, corruption related to PPE, life-saving, for me, it's actually a murder. Because if health workers work without PPE, we're risking their lives. And that also risks the lives of the people they serve. So it's criminal and it's a murder. And it has to stop if it's happening anywhere.
Calls for a probe into COVID-19 funds have continued to gain attraction across the country. State House called for a speedy investigation into the scandal, as David Muthoka now reports.
State House has instructed two top investigative bodies, namely the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI, to urgently commence investigations into allegations of misuse of up to 2.5 billion shillings by the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA. According to the directive issued by Head of Public Service Joseph Kinyua, the two bodies EACC and DCI have been asked to take up the matter and give daily progress updates. This as the ODM party issued a statement criticizing the government for instructing the DCI and EACC to investigate the claims before a proper audit on the funds is carried out. In the statement sent to newsrooms, the ODM party has stated, "We gather that the DCI has been called into KEMSA to investigate these matters. We, however, wonder how this can be so before a credible audit by the Auditor General is carried out to ascertain the veracity of these claims." The party has further criticized Deputy President William Ruto's remarks on his Twitter handle over the scandal. Ruto on Thursday had taken to his Twitter account to distance himself from the graft claims, where he wrote, "At least for once it won't be possible to be blamed for what someone said started in Wuhan as a virus, landed in Italy as a pandemic, and now in Kenya as a multi-billion shilling corruption enterprise." But the ODM party has sharply condemned the remarks, stating, "At a time when he should help the president crack the whip on corruption cartels within the government, he holds campaigns at his residence while cheering wrongdoing within the government in the mistaken belief that any perceived failures by the president will raise his dwindling profile."
It is disheartening to hear no less than a senior government official, no less a senior government official than the deputy president, go public with improper statement that at least now nobody will blame me for stealing COVID-19 funds. This statement suggests that it is okay for the funds to be stolen for as long as he is not to blame. Or even more unsettling, it expresses the jealousy of being left out of the gravy train.
This as former Naivasha MP and Nakada boss John Mutudho joined human rights defenders and good governance lobby groups in expressing concerns over continued lack of transparency and accountability of COVID-19 funds. Mutudho also pleaded with donors not to withdraw funds, saying that will puncture the country's fight against COVID-19.
We cannot respond to withdrawal of funds of 400 billion by going to the streets. That's not good. We shall get hurt more. The donors should not take that angle. But we as citizens, within the constitution of a provision, will arrest all of them.
The head of the public service, Joseph Kinyua, ameandikwa barua jana akisema kwamba rais amemdirect aambie mkubwa ya upelelezi ahakikisha kwamba waizi wote ambao wanaiba pesa ya corona washikwe.
The Global Fund has since withdrawn its funds earmarked for Kenya following the latest COVID-19 allegations linked to KEMSA. David Muthoka, TV47.
And away from COVID-19 matters, the delay in resolving the revenue formula standoff has elicited mixed reactions from across the political divide. This as the 12-member Senate committee promises to deliver a report next week. Majority Whip Irungu Kangata is now calling on Senate to adopt the recommendations by the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Joash Onsare reports.
The 12-member Senate committee is expected to table its report next week after days of sitting to build a consensus. Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kangata has supported President Uhuru Kenyatta's sentiment in calling for the implementation of the CRA recommendations.
It is very important as a Senate we take due considerations, opinions expressed by Commission for Revenue Allocation, and also opinions expressed by the Council of Governors.
President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday supported the CRA recommendations in his first public support on the disputed third generation formula.
Hii formula si ilitolewa na wale watu wa SRC. Si imeenda Senate kusema watu wagawe pesa kwa njia ya haki. Kila mtu apate haki. Kwa nini mwananchi wa Nairobi ati kwa sababu inasemekana ati Nairobi ni mji tajiri, wewe ambao unaishi Embakasi na Korogosho bado unafunga choo kwa karatasi, lakini unaambiwa wewe ni tajiri, huna haki ya kupata pesa? Ukweli na haki utajitokeza.
Kangata now saying there is need to consider marginalized counties without straining counties with high population.
I agree that it makes all the sense that the so-called marginalized counties, their interest be taken into due account. We do not want to oppress or discriminate any county in this Republic of Kenya. But on the other hand, there is immense strain on public resources by counties with large population.
Western Kenya leaders, among them former Kakamega Senator Boni Khalwale, have called on senators to perform their mandate without the executive interference. Others blaming ODM leader Raila Odinga for the standoff.
Katiba haisemi kwamba ili Wetangula afanye kazi, Khaniri wa Vihiga wako wa Busia, Malala wa Kakamega lazima waulize Uhuru anataka namna gani, ama waulize Raila wafanye kazi kama senator.
Lakini masaibu ambaye mheshimiwa Uhuru anapitia sahi, kama angesikia wasia wetu, hatungekuwa mahali tupo wakati huu ambapo counties zinahitaji pesa na pesa haijafika hapa, ila sisi watu wa bunge la taifa tushapeana pesa ikuje, lakini kizungumkuti ni mtu anaitwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
The disputed formula has caused a delay in the disbursement of funds to the counties. Joash Onsare, TV47.
Thank you, Joash, for that report. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has urged political and religious leaders to be humble to those who help them ascend to leadership positions. Speaking in Eldoret during the wedding of Bishop John Kamau of KAG Church Eldoret, DP Ruto said humility and unity are key components for any leadership, as he also asked youth to avoid tribalism and anything divisive. Leaders who accompanied the Deputy President drummed up support for his 2022 presidential ambitions.
Mzee ako sawa leo, ilikuwa kwa moyo. Tuombee nchi yetu. Tusipigane kwa hii mambo ya revenue, kwa sababu Mungu wako tayari kutufanya watajiri zaidi. So let's pray for more so we can be comfortable, all of us.
Mgao ambaye itakuja Turkana na itabaki Turkana itasaidia Mkikuyu, itasaidia Mkalenjin, itasaidia Mjaluo, itasaidia Mturkana. Na ndio mzuri tuangalie maneno hii.
Hata wakae chini wapange kwa boardroom usiku na mchana. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie watu wa Uasin Gishu na watu wa Bonde la Ufa na watu wa Kenya ya kwamba hatutawahi sosana tena kwa sababu ya ujinga ya siasa. Wakati mwingi hasa sisi walio katika mrengo wa siasa, kwa sababu ya sifa nyingi na heshima, naitwa mheshimiwa, bwana mkubwa, excellency, baba, sijui nini. Watu wengi wanaenda mpaka wanachanganyikiwa, wanasahau wao ni binadamu.
Now, today marks the 42nd anniversary since the death of the founding president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. However, this was the first time the commemoration was done without any public function, and President Uhuru Kenyatta's family marked the anniversary in a private affair. Unlike the past years since the demise of the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, this year no state function was witnessed to mark the 42nd anniversary of his death. Today was the first silent anniversary, and President Uhuru Kenyatta did not lay a wreath at his father's grave, the Kenyatta family opting for a private ceremony. During last year's commemoration, President Kenyatta announced that the memorial service would be the last after consultations with the entire Kenyatta family. After Kenya won independence in 1963, the late Mzee Kenyatta was elected as president in 1964 and served until his death in 1978.
Many thanks for staying with us here on our Saturday night news. Let's take a short break, but we'll be back with much more in just a moment. A very warm welcome back. Now, COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli has positioned himself as one of the 2022 Kingmakers. A series of meetings held in his Kajiado home are said to be plotting for President Uhuru Kenyatta's successor. But is Atwoli among the 2022 Kingmakers? And will these meetings come up with the Kenyan who will challenge, among others, Deputy President William Ruto in 2022 polls? Elizabeth Mutuku reports.
At least 5 political meetings have been held in COTU boss Francis Atwoli's Kajiado home in the last 2 months. Meetings that have been linked to plotting for 2022. But is Atwoli the 2022 Kingmaker?
Bwana Atwoli is our modern day Banadawa in terms of trying to put together a team of like-minded politicians. And I am one of those.
The kind of numbers of delegations that I have seen him host, I have no doubt in my mind that he commands a considerable clout in Western Kenya, because if he didn't, then we will not be seeing the kind of delegations coming from Western Kenya, also coming from Nyanza, coming from Rift Valley, even coming from Central, trooping to his home.
The meetings bringing together Atwoli, Jubilee Vice Chair David Murathe, and a host of other leaders, among them ODM leader Raila Odinga, KANU Chairman Gideon Moi, former Gatanga lawmaker Peter Kenneth, and Raila's foot soldiers. Atwoli has already declared his support for the ODM leader Raila Odinga in his 2022 presidential bid, sentiments that were echoed by Jubilee Vice Chairman David Murathe.
I think Murathe was right, and I want to endorse his proposal as a person, as I continue to consult as Francis. Indeed, it is true, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, for a long time he has fought for fairness, truthfulness, straightforwardness. If he will offer his candidature, I'm sure by 10 a.m., I don't know the date, 2022, he will be the 5th Kenya's president.
Atwoli claiming to have the Luhya's 2022 vote, a region that currently boasts of more than 6.8 million votes as it is for now. His attempt to bring together the Mulembe nation having received opposition among Luhya bigwigs.
I think this is the first time we have realized almost every constituency in West Kenya represented.
ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi embattled Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula, Kakamega governor Wycliffe Oparanya, and devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa are currently perceived to be the Luhya leaders. Mudavadi and Wetangula have already declared to be on the ballot come 2022.
Sometimes when you have disparate forces, not desperate, disparate forces, or forces that come, different forces. It takes an individual at the level of somebody like Atwoli to bring them together and be the midwife. And that's the role he's trying to play. And there can be no better person to play that role other than him now.
Umaarufu wa siasa tufanye 2022. Lakini sisi tunajua tunafuata Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi kama our presidential candidate kutoka sehemu hii. Wale wengine wanataka kutuingiza kwa serikali, mimi nashangaa. Eugene yuko kwa serikali. Anataka kutupeleka serikali nyingine gani? Na yeye ni waziri. Oparanya ni Council of Governors chairman, ni mdosi na mheshimu. Nani ana serikali yake ya Kakamega County. Ni serikali gani wanatupangia mbele?
Atwoli, on the other hand, has been pushing quote-unquote Uhuru is too young to retire narrative, with some close Uhuru allies being part of his team. The entry of Peter Kenneth in Atwoli's camp was termed as a way of looking for Kenyatta's successor in Mount Kenya region. Kenneth has been working behind Murathe.
Atwoli, Murathe, Peter Kenneth pia yeye amebadilika siku hizi. Mzungu hapa Murang'a tulikuwa tunafikiria ako na sisi. Tumemuona sasa wako na Raila wakipanga. Na hiyo jamaa yote muendelee na hiyo sarakasi yenu, lakini mjue kura haitafutwi huko kwa Atwoli nyumbani. Kura inatafutwa hapa ground kwa wananchi.
And I know Uhuru is with his own wisdom. At least he is going to give a direction because he would wish that as he exits the office, there will be continuity. There will be people who will still continue pushing the agendas that he has been pushing, so that he can do the handing over the stick to somebody who will reasonably unite our community, unite the region, and unite this country the more.
President Uhuru Kenyatta's backyard will play a key role in determining who will win presidential polls in 2022 general election. An analysis of the 2019 population census shows not only is the president's community the largest in the country with a population of 8.12 million, outnumbering the second largest ethnic group, the Luhya, by 1.3 million people, it is also home of the counties with high numbers of people, most of them youths who will be eligible for registration as voters in the next general election.
We all know who our leader is. Our leader in Kenya is His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who also happens to be our leader. No other person can purport to speak on behalf of His Excellency the President. Not even the Bukanini Kega, who is the chairman of budget.
So it's only the president who can command Mount Kenya region.
Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. And I have been in Mount Kenya. We have all been there in Mount Kenya. There is no iota of evidence to say the contrary. So His Excellency the President commands overwhelming support in the entire Mount Kenya region. And not just Mount Kenya region, but he has a lot of support in the countries.
Currently, Nairobi has the highest number of registered voters with over 3 million registered voters. Kiambu, Nakuru, Kakamega, Meru and Machakos are among counties with over 1 million votes, with Bungoma among the top counties. Kakamega and Bungoma are in western part of Kenya.
Na tunaendelea kukaa hapa, tunakaa, atu vitu itatoka mbinguni, sikufikie sisi. Atu tunangojea.
Mambo ya vyama kusema sisi ni wa ANC, sisi wa Ford Kenya, sijui sisi wa ODM ama NASA ama Jubilee, mambo hayo yalikwisha wakati huo. Sasa sisi sote tuko chini ya serikali moja ya Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta.
And with Atwoli claiming to unite the Luhya nation, he will be looking to convince close to 7 million Luhya votes, the second highest in Populous County. However, the votes can't make a 50+1 vote for the president in the country that votes along tribal lines. Kikuyu nation has the highest number of registered voters at 8.1 million votes, a nation that Deputy President William Ruto has also been trying to penetrate. Ruto's Kalenjin community has over 6.36 million votes that might be split between Ruto and Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, who is also in Atwoli's camp.
2022 is the biggest elephant in the room, yes. But there are other development issues. So we talk about a range of issues as leaders. But of course, yes, we have the presidential succession, which is the big elephant in the room, and we cannot ignore, and we have to talk about it.
In the recent past, Yala MP and ODM boss Raila Odinga's elder brother Oburu Odinga said Raila's 2022 presidency is assured since he has the so-called system and the deep state, remarks that seem to have hit Ruto's hardest.
Nataka niwaambie hawa watu tunawangojea. Hiyo deep state tunangojea. Na hiyo system tunangojea. Watakuja na system, sisi tutakuja na wananchi na Mungu.
But is Murathe and Atwoli the deep state or system referred to by Ruto and his allies?
Tanga, I don't believe in those formations, because I believe in the one country which is led by His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we have followed him and we continue to follow him because we know for sure that the position that he holds and where he sits at the apex, definitely he has an advantage view over everybody else.
I do not know who came up with that thing of deep or shallow states. What I know is that perhaps it represents the public servants who don't have to play politics openly with us. I do not know, but whether they shape, Kenya is a democracy. So whatever else somebody else tries to do out there, or deep or shallow, Kenya is a democracy, and we believe in the democratic process.
Ile system sisi tunaelewa na ile system tunajua ni system ya wananchi na sana sana system ya Mungu.
And with the fallout between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, various political camps are gearing up for 2022.
As politicians continue to align and realign themselves for the 2022 elections, it's evident that ODM boss Raila Odinga is yet to declare his stand on the matter, though his allies continue to push him for the fifth time. Elizabeth Motuko, TV47 Nairobi.
Well, only time will tell if COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli is really the kingmaker or not. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Mutuku, for that report. Now, moving on, 2 men from Riandu village, that is in Beret North, Embu County, have lost their lives while running away from a police operation enforcing the COVID-19 measures in the area. The two fell into a water pan and drowned, as Moige William now reports.
A village in Beret North Sub-County, Embu County, is mourning the death of 2 people who died while fleeing from a police sting operation while allegedly taking alcohol. The 2 drowned into a water pan near Riandu Shopping Center, with 1 person escaping death by whisker after being rescued.
Wenye watu walisikia watu polisi wamefika, walianzia kutoroka.
Watu wengi walikimbia, 3 wakaingia kwa kisima, mmoja akatoka akiwa uhai, au wengine wakakufa.
Area residents have accused the chief, his assistant and the law enforcers for allowing the operation of bars in the area.
Virap sinafunguliwa area kwao, wako hapo, hakuna kitu wanafanya.
Huku kuna corruption mingi sana. Polisi wanakuja huku, hata sometimes wanakunywa huku, wanapewa kitu kidogo, halafu baadaye wanaenda.
Women in the area also noted that the increase in alcohol consumption in the area has led to many family wrangles.
Juu wanaume wetu wanapotelea kwa pombe. Mboma imepomoka, wase wataki kulea watoto wetu.
Confirming the incident, Beret North Deputy County Commissioner Christopher Siele said police officers from Chicago Police Station received a tip-off from the local administration that some bars were operating against the government directive.
Kulikuwa kumetokezea malalamiko eneo hilo, ndio maana OCS akaenda. Ni vibaya sana wakati watu wanajihusisha na ulevi ambaye haina mpango.
Residents are now appealing to the government to close 7 bars operating within Kauriro Shopping Center in Riandu against the president's directives. Moige William for TV47 in Riandu, Beret North, Embu County.
For a long time, ambulance driving has been dominated by men in the country, maybe because of the intricate nature of the work. However, at Kitale Level 4 Hospital in Trans Nzoia County, our reporter Boniface Baraza met Scholastica Kemboi, an ambulance driver, and filed this report.
This is Kitale Level 4 Hospital. Kennedy Kiplangat, a train of St. John's Ambulance, is training ambulance drivers on emergency response and first aid attention in order to improve provision of emergency services. Among them is Scholastica Kemboi, a female driver who narrates how she ventured in this kind of job.
Mara ya kwanza hata mimi mwenyewe kama mlady sikuwa najua kama ladies wanaendesha ambulance, lakini wakati nilikuja nikaingia kufanya hii kazi ya ambulance niliona ni kazi kawaida kama venye wanaume wanafanya kazi nyingine.
She has been in this job for over 5 years after tamaking for long, and this is her source of income.
Niseeleza mama wengine hata nyinyi mjikase tufanye hii kazi, si ngumu, ni kupenda kazi na ujue kufanyia mgonjwa first aid yote, na ujue kusaidia mgonjwa ni faster, si kama hizi magari nyingine. Gari nyingine ni tofauti, inaenda polepole, lakini ni ya kuokoa maisha ya binadamu.
The energetic lady is gratified. Every moment she saves human life.
Kama wakati ya traffic jam, kuna wanaume wakiona kama ni mama anaendesha ambulance, si rahisi watoke. Lazima naye nifike karibu na hawa, nisongesha hawa kwa lazima na hii gari. Kwa sababu wasipotoka, una waste wakati ya mgonjwa kufika hospitali kuokolewa. Si kazi yenye unaweza sema unaweza paka hapo gari uende. Hiyo ni kazi yenye saa yoyote simu unapigiwa kuna emergency, na lazima urespond haraka kwa emergency, kwa sababu ni kuokoa maisha ya mwanadamu. So ujue utakosa kwako usiku, utakosa familia yako usiku.
According to Dr. Sami Masibo, the Director of Health Department in Trans Nzoia County and the Medical Superintendent in this health facility, female ambulance drivers perform exemplary well.
Madereva wa kike wako na experience nzuri zaidi, wanapendwa na wagonjwa zaidi. Wanadada wetu wengi wanafaa kuhimizwa kuchukua karia hiyo, manake kulingana na kazi ambayo tumeona wakifanya, wanaperform vizuri sana kilinganisha hata na male counterparts. Hakuna kitu ambacho wanashindwa kufanya.
Through this training, Scholastic and her colleagues are equipped to handle emergencies of any nature.
Lakini kwa sasa St. John imenisaidia, ninasafanyia mgonjwa all first aid, ni kumbeba mpaka hospitali kitamba apate matibabu.
Chochote kinaweza tokea katikati ya hospitali mbili wakiwa kwa njia. Na ni muhimu kwamba wawe na uzoefu na kujua kwamba wanaweza pia peana huduma za kwanza za wagonjwa hao wakiwa wanasafiri.
Apart from the training empowering individuals to enhance their career, it can also help them whenever they are in their community. Whenever there is any emergencies, and we've seen emergencies in this country, all forms of emergencies, whether it's fire emergency, whether it's natural disaster emergencies, whether it's medical emergencies. And for example, the collapsed buildings.
Boniface Barasa, TV47, Trans Nzoia County.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's take another short breather. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Welcome back to Saturday Night News. Health workers in Naivasha Level 5 Hospital are on a 2-day retreat to relieve the COVID-19 pandemic pressure. Willie Dennis Njiro reports from Naivasha.
Utafiti ambao ulianza kufanyika China kwenye COVID-19 ilianza unaonyesha kwamba wahudumu wa afya ambao wanahudumu katika wodi ama quarantine centers za COVID-19 wanapata msongo wa mawazo ama mashida tofauti ya kiakili kutokana na nature ya kazi ambayo wanaifanya.
The Naivasha Hospital Superintendent Angelini Dhondeka is persuasive upon Kenyans to make an alteration of this negative perception.
Sometimes you find people will disperse when such person comes in, or they will avoid interacting with them. So it only makes the situation worse because they're dealing with a lot in the hospital. But now when you then isolate yourself or you kind of tangle them, it becomes even worse. Avoid categorizing people according to COVID. Don't call them mtu wa corona, mse wa corona.
Reporting for TV47 from Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
Thank you for that report, Willie Dennis Njiro from Naivasha. Many thanks for staying with us here on TV47. Remember, you can also give me your views on Facebook, TV47 Kenya, and on Twitter at TV47 Kenya. You can tell me where you're watching us tonight on our Saturday Night News. Once again, remember, you can talk to me on Twitter at TV47KE and on Facebook at TV47 Kenya, and tell me where you're watching us from. Now, works at Bachuma Export Processing Zone have resumed to pave way for export of livestock to overseas markets. Speaking while inspecting the 380 million project at Bachuma area in Taita Taveta, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya said completion works are in high gear to beat the November 30th deadline. The CS said the government is keenly following to ensure that the facility, which is one of President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy projects, is completed in time. CS Munya said the contractor has assured the government that the project will be completed in November to boost livestock and beef export trade by facilitating access to markets. He said the ministry will reclaim all grabbed land across the country to put them into their intended use, adding that apart from being evicted, they should also be arrested and arraigned in court for grabbing government land.
Placed where we have very many ranches around this place. There is also a research station run by Carro that will be supporting the farming activities here. So we think that once this project takes off, then it will take us to another level in terms of adding value to our livestock. Yes, part of our visit also was to register our displeasure continuing encroachment of government land in this area. With people who are taking over government land with impunity, and we are saying that must stop. Public land doesn't mean it is nobody's land, or public property is not nobody's property. It belongs to the people of Kenya, and therefore if we have to privatize, then we have to do it the right way, but not individuals like gangland taking over land from government and settling there. That impunity must stop, and we have directed the county commissioner to immediately evict that particular person who has put up a house in that land. One has already been evicted. We also want that other one to be evicted immediately, and they prosecuted for invading land that does not belong to him. It is criminal. It is against the law.
Now, a fierce political exchange played out when Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka met former Machakos Senator Johnston Muthama at a funeral in a ceremony in Machakos County for the first time since Muthama publicly announced his exit from the Wiper Party.
The burial of Samuel Mutuku Mulu, the firstborn son of the late veteran politician Mulu Mutisya, played host to a fierce political battle pitting Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and former Machakos Senator Johnston Muthama in what was their first ever public meeting since Muthama publicly ditched Kalonzo's Wiper Party. And as the supremacy battle over the Kamba vote ahead of the 2022 presidential election played out, Muthama, while addressing mourners in Wamunyu, Machakos County, declared he had officially joined Deputy President William Ruto's political camp, urging the Kamba community to rally behind the second-in-command in his 2022 presidential bid.
Ruto ameniambia kwa imani ya Wakenya na kwa sababu ya Wakenya amenjitoa kama sandaka, kuteswa, kupigwa, kunyanyazwa, bora mkombolewe kutoka katika minyororo ya watu fulani.
But in a swift rejoinder, Kalonzo told off Muthama, accusing him of having misled him twice and consequently leading Kamba community to the wrong direction.
I've said today I'm my own negotiator. Mwana ya Muthama twice, ulinipeleka kwa Raila twice. Na matokeo ndio hayo.
Kalonzo further refuted claims of a possible alliance between him and Deputy President William Ruto.
Kweli mundu Kalonzo ni wailotuika Deputy wa Ruto. That is my question. That is my question. So some of these questions are rather obvious.
This as Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko called on a unified Kamba vote, urging Muthama and Kalonzo to kiss and make up for the sake of Kamba unity.
Lakini ningependa kuwaambia huu ni wakati wenu, mshikane na sisi tutawasupport. Mambo ya kugawanywa, mwingine sijui yako tanga, mwingine sijui yako kieleweke, mwingine sijui yako wapi, wakamba hakuna mali tunaelekea.
David Muthoka, TV47.
Thank you.
And Turkana County Governor Josephat Nanok has expressed fears that Turkwel Dam is likely to flood due to the heavy rains experienced in the region that has raised water levels in the dam. Nanok says water is about to spill over and is likely to affect over 300,000 people and affect their economy immensely. He has called on the Ministry of Devolution to intervene to avert a looming crisis.
Tumepokea mvua mingi zaidi nchi mzima, hasa North Rift. Hata mpaka Turkana imepokea mvua mingi zaidi. Na kwa mara ya kwanza damu yetu Turkwel Dam ama Turkwel Lake imejaa zaidi kwa miaka 30, imebakisha mita 4.5 peke yake maji ya mwagike ya flow over. So kuna fears mingi zaidi kuwa flooding inaweza fanyika kule chini. Zaidi ya watu 1350 ambao wanaishi karibu na mto, na Lodwar Town municipality nzima karibu almost 3/4 iko ndani ya low lying area ya mto. So tuna wasiwasi mingi zaidi. Na kwa wizara serikali ya kitaifa ambayo ilijenga damu hii, ni muhimu kuweka mkataba ambaye iliyokuwako hii damu ikijengwa ya irrigation downstream. Ni muhimu saa hii tuweze kutumia maji hii katika manufaa ya kila mtu, sio kusiaga stima kidogo peke yake.
Now let's take a look at what's going on in the world of sports. Now, several national team captains have urged the government to the resumption of sporting activities in the country after a 5-month hiatus led by Kenya Lioness captain Philadelphia Orlando. The skippers fear they might be underprepared for the Olympic Games if the ban on sporting activities remains in place.
Better for the team
cause tusipoanza saa hizi tuongoje hadi corona ishe, itakuwa ngumu sana timu kwenda pale na kuperform. Unaona? Cause one, rugby is a physical game. Lazima to get fitter, tukue physically ready for competition. So pia mimi kitu vinaweza add pia government will look into that, cause story na social distance na nini, kama tunaweza kuwa tunafanya mazoezi kikikundi, yani asubuhi ama